Major events of the Renaissance and Reformation period. Act of Supremacy and Act of Uniformity. The Act of Supremacy was enforced in 1559, and it declared the sovereign to be supreme of all persons, and causes, ecclesiastical as well as civil within this realm. The Act of Uniformity, dated 1559, compelled the clergy to use the prayer book of Edward VI. It compelled the laity to go to church, and hear the English service read. Roanoke Colony. An English colony is established by Sir Walter Raleigh on the Roanoke Island in 1584. It was resettled in 1587 and vanished without a trace in 1590. Globe Theatre. The Globe Theatre was built in 1599 by William Shakespeare's playing company, the Lord Chamberlain's Men. In 1613, the Globe Theatre went up in flames and burst during a performances on the play, Henry VIII. Shakespeare's Globe. When the Globe Theatre was destroyed in 1613, a second theatre was built in the following year in 1614. Shakespeare's Globe was a reconstruction of the Globe Theatre, an Elizabethan playhouse for which William Shakespeare wrote plays. The Hampton Court Conference. In 1604, a meeting held at Hampton Court Palace in response to the Millenary Petition, in which the Puritans set forth their demands for reform of the Church of England. The conference was presided over by the King James I, attended by the bishops and the Puritans' leaders. The reforms discussed were as under. Changes in the church government. Changes in the Book of Common Prayer. New translation of the Bible. In 1605, the Gunpowder Plot was planned to blow up the Houses of Parliament when the King, Lord and Commons were all present and then seized control of England. It came about when King James changed his attitude towards Catholics. He, at first, wanted to reconcile his rule to include Protestants and Catholics. He relaxed his laws towards Catholics, allowing them to go about unmolested, but when he realized how many people were still Catholics, he panicked and changed his policy, ordering all Catholic priests from the country. After this, Gunpowder Plot was hatched. It is also called Gunpowder Treason Plot or the Jesuit Treason. Participants: Robert Catesby, Thomas Percy, Guy Fawkes, John Grant, Ambrose Rookwood, Robert Keyes. Results: the plot resulted failure and the plotters were executed. Translation of Bible. The King James Version of the translation of Bible is published in 1611. The Overberry Scandal. Sir Thomas Overberry was an English poet and essayist, also known for being the victim of a murder which led to a scandalous trial. The details of the murder were uncovered by Edward Coke and Sir Francis Bacon, who presided over the trial. The Addled Parliament. The Parliament of 1614 was the second Parliament of England of the reign of James I, which sat between 5th or 7th of April 1614. It lasted for 2 months and 2 days. It saw no bills pass. It was dissolved without passing any laws or granting any taxes, and for its failure, it has been known to posterity as the Addled Parliament. The 30 Years' War. It was the 17th-century religious conflict, fought primarily in Central Europe. The war lasted from 1618 to 1648, starting as a battle among the Catholics and Protestant states. It resulted about 8 million deaths and casualties, mostly from diseases or starvation. It was fought for various reasons, including religious, dynastic territories, and commercial rivalries. Shakespeare's first folio published. In 1623, Shakespeare's first folio of Shakespeare's published work appeared. Triennial Act. In 1641, the first act, that mandates a parliament, shall be called at least minimum of once, in every 3 years of its enforcement. English Civil Wars. The English Civil Wars, from 1642 to 1651, was a series of civil wars and political machinations between the parliamentarians, Roundheads, and Royalists, Cavalier, mainly over the manner of England's governance and issues of religious freedom. Closing of the theatres. In 1642, when the First English Civil War had begun, the Puritan-led Parliament ordered the closure of theatres in London. The reason to ban the theatres was its incompatibility in the scenario of war and entertainment with the public stage was nothing but a lascivious mirth and levity. In 1648, when the Second Civil War began, the ban was reinforced again with the demolition of theatre seating, treatment of actors as rouges, and fines for spectators.